The shadows in her mind. Elena had always been known for her bright spirit and infectious laughter. In her small town, she was a beacon of joy, but as the years dragged on, something started to change. She began hearing whispers when no one was around and seeing shadows flit at the corner of her eye. At first, she dismissed them as tricks of the light, the byproduct of a long day or a tired mind. But the occurrences grew more common, and they were unlike anything she had known before. A few weeks after her 21st birthday, beneath the weight of uncertainty, Elena's once flourishing life began to unravel. It started with the text messages from her mother that never happened. "I'm watching you. You can't hide," they would read, leaving her both terrified and confused. The real nightmares crept in at night, twisting her dreams into a dark canvas of dread. Faces she recognized morphed into grotesque nightmares, staring at her from the shadows. Her best friend, Sarah, began to notice the change. "You look tired, Elena," she mentioned one Friday evening over coffee. They'd always met at the same cafe, but now the sounds of laughter blurred around her, the colors of the world muted to dull grays. "Are you okay? You're acting a bit strange." "I'm fine," Elena lied, forcing a smile that felt foreign on her face. The mirror in the restroom proved otherwise. Her reflection looked hollow, eyes sunken, and a flickering unease washing over her. There was something off, something lurking just beneath the surface. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers morphed into soft laughter, echoing in her mind at inopportune times. They laughed at her ignorance, at her feeble grasp on reality. It wasn't long before they escalated into sinister commands. "Go outside, Elena. Let us show you the world beyond," they'd jeer. If she squeezed her eyes tight enough, she could see them, figures, eerily shadow-like, beckoning to her from the darkness of her room. They weren't tangible, but their presence gripped her heart with icy fingers. One night, overwhelmed by the cacophony in her head, Elena reached for her phone. With trembling hands, she texted Sarah, "I think I need you. I'm scared." The response came almost instantly, as only true friends can. "I'll be over in 10. But as she waited, the wraiths in her mind twisted, contorting into figments of her deepest fears. They crawled into her peripheral vision, whispering about secrets her own mind hid from her. "You have to let us in, Elena. We can help you," they cooed. The shadows seemed to giggle as they flickered near the edge of her memory. When Sarah arrived, the warmth of her presence soothed her frazzled nerves, at least for a moment. "You're not alone. Tell me what's going on," Sarah urged, concern mixing with compassion. But the laughter grew louder. "Don't tell her. She can't save you. You're ours now," they echoed, harsh and persuasive. There are things I can't explain," Elena stammered. "I see things. I hear voices." Tears stung the corners of her eyes as the shadows pressed in closer, squeezing against her sanity. She felt exposed, like a spider in a web, with the unsuspecting Sarah inching closer to the truth. "You're just tired, Elena. Let's go out, get some fresh air?" Sarah suggested, ever the optimist. But the shadows writhed in displeasure, pushing against her skull, warning her not to step outside, not to reveal their secret. Panic surged through her. "No, you don't understand. I can't," Elena screamed, the sound echoing around them even as she clamped a trembling hand over her mouth. The laughter crescendoed, engulfing her in a whirlwind of anxiety. Suddenly, she was no longer in her living room, she was transported into a twisted, darker reality. In the shadows, she recognized fast-moving silhouettes, daggers of fear piercing through the haze. "Embrace us, Elena," they hissed, sending chills spiraling down her spine. She thought she saw her mother's face among them, her eyes hollow, blood dripping from her clothing. "You need us." Sarah stood, paralyzed, fear etched across her face. "Elena, breathe. I'm here. You're safe." Her voice became a lifeline, tethering her back to the present. But the shadows had already begun to flake away at her resolve. "You have to tell her the truth," they screamed, their voices rising in pitch. "Let us in." It was deafening now, squirming in her mind, bathing her in chaos. The choice was hers: to surrender to the dark cries or fight for her reality. With every ounce of strength, she took a deep breath and whispered, "I need help." The admission felt painfully liberating. For the first time, The shadows seemed to wane as Elena opened herself to Sarah, sharing the terror she had bottled up. The laughter faded, replaced by a stillness that allowed clarity to seep in. "We'll figure this out together," Sarah promised, gripping Elena's hands as if to anchor her. It was just the beginning of a long battle. But in that moment, surrounded by flickering memories and fading fears, Elena felt something ignite within her, a flicker of hope against the overpowering darkness, and for once, she wasn't afraid.